Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and some more Star Wars gaming content. Today we're gonna dive into LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, as we've got plenty of stuff to talk about, both some new interviews highlighting some of the great parts of the game, the boycott that some people have been talking about and why you shouldn't boycott the game, as well as I want to go over all the editions of the game, which one I think you should get to help you decide which version of the game you want to get, and also what all of the character packs and DLCs to the game actually includes that we know about so far. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga and other Star Wars games as well. Before we get into the details, I wanted to give a shout out to my sponsor Elgato, who just recently released a new Stream Deck pedal, which is something quite unique, as you will be able to control whatever you want with your feet instead of using your hands. So it basically has the same features as a Stream Deck, whether you want to use shortcuts in a editing software, play sounds, mute yourself on Discord, take a screenshot. Possibilities are endless, but now you can actually do it hands-free if your hands are busy playing a game, for instance. So if you guys are interested in checking out the new Stream Deck pedal or any of their other content creation products, make sure to follow the link in the description below. But now let's dive straight into the LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga news. First of all, I wanted to start off by clarifying something that I talked about in my previous video, which is the local co-op. The game will have local co-op like previous LEGO Star Wars games, which means that two of you can play together locally on your PC or on your console. And this has been confirmed both in the Nintendo eShop, Xbox Store and Steam. However, they haven't said anything about online co-op, and that's something I know a lot of people want to see. However, if you play on Steam on PC, you can actually use Steam's remote play together feature and actually emulate playing local. So if you're on PC, you can still play online co-op no matter if they officially support it in the game, but for consoles that might not be the case unless they're saving that as a surprise for the launch. Before I get into all the editions of the game and which one you should pick, I wanted to bring up a concern that was actually posted at the same time as the reveal of the gameplay overview, because Polygon made a pretty lengthy article talking about how poorly the staff over at TT Games have been treated during the development of this game, with some very extensive crunch and some of the higher-ups treating the staff really poorly. And this is obviously bad to hear and is a big problem in the games industry, and a lot of people have called out to say that we should boycott the game and not support this kind of behavior. And I think it's really good that this is brought into light, because the developers don't deserve to be treated the way they have there or in any other studio that has similar practices. However, boycotting the game is not the best thing to do, and one ex-TT Games developer actually went out and said that as well. And this is exactly what he said. There are many incredible people still in the trenches at TT, and they do pay sales-based bonuses. So I don't know, maybe don't boycott the game. Don't make all those blood, sweat and tears count for nothing, huh? These problems are industry-wide and require industry-wide solutions. So I think he's very right about that. This is obviously a problem in the games industry and not just at TT Games. And the least we can do is actually support the game that they've now created. Even though the development might have been horrible, they can at least get a bit of a bonus if the game sells well, which I think it will, as long as it is as good as all of us hope for. So I just wanted to bring that up because I think both parts to that is important, but if you're hesitant about buying the game for that very reason, don't be. You'll only be supporting the developers who actually worked on the game. Next up, we have an article from Kotaku a couple of days ago where they interviewed the lead designer on the game, Dawn McDermid, who first of all has a pretty cool surname as she shares it with the Senate himself. But the article is quite lengthy, so I wanted to pick out a few of the more important parts. First of all, when she was asked how the game will stand out, she said, with a whole galaxy of fun to explore, 23 planets to visit, capital ships to take down, and 9 films to play through, this game was built from the ground up, making everything brand new. This allowed us to improve mechanics, elevate the art, and create an alive and bustling game world that I think the players will really enjoy running around. And we can obviously see that the game is quite an upgrade graphically and combat-wise from previous games, and she did also talk about that later in the article, how everything is built from the ground up to this game, and they haven't reused any assets at all from previous games because they have a brand new engine. So I think that sounds very good, and hopefully we're in for a pretty smooth experience. And when she was asked about what's new about the game, she said the following: there are so many new things in this game, it would be hard to name them all. Something that stands out for me personally is the new combat system. system. We've really changed up how the player can engage with enemies in the game. In particular, the blaster combat is a lot of fun, with the camera pulling in and making you really feel like you are in the action. Another new feature that blew me away when I first saw the game was the capital ship encounters. You can be flying through space and then a huge ship will appear that you can choose to fight and then take over. It's really cool and opens up new ship environments to run around in. I think this sounds amazing, as it means that you can actually fight the capital ship, disable it, and then board it and take it over. This kind of brings back flashbacks from Battlefront 2, the original, where you can actually board a ship and take it over from inside. It's obviously not going to be exactly the same here because it's not the same type of game, but just the fact that a capital ship can pop up out of nowhere and you can then fight it and then board it and explore its interior environments is really cool. So that's definitely something that I don't think they showed off in the trailer, so I was happy to see that in the interview. Now let's talk about the editions of the game, because it can get a little bit confusing and I want to make it as easy for you guys as possible to choose which edition of the game that you want to pick. First of all, the game is only $50 in most places. It depends a little bit on your local currency, where you get it from, and so on. And the deluxe edition is $60. So I think that's a very good step up. Just games are getting more and more expensive because obviously it's more expensive to create them, and we have inflation and stuff like that. So the fact that the base game is only $50 for this much content is honestly a really good deal in my opinion, and I'm totally gonna get the deluxe edition. But before you choose, let's talk about what's actually in them, and also what the difference is between pre-ordering digitally or physically. So first of all, digitally you will get a classic Obi-Wan playable character, and this is for all editions of the game, both normal and deluxe, and it's also not just for pre-order. So if you get the game digitally in any way, you will get this classic yellow Obi-Wan, which is pretty neat, and it doesn't matter if you buy the game before the launch or after the launch. But if you pre-order digitally, you will get the Trooper character pack day one. This is the Trooper character pack that is also included in the deluxe edition of the game, but if you pre-order any edition, you get the Trooper character pack for free on day one. As for the deluxe edition, you get 7 character packs included in this, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about what those character packs will include in a second. And lastly, if you get the physical deluxe edition of the game, you will get a Luke Skywalker Blue Milk minifig, and you will get this Darth Vader alternate box. So there are a couple of options you have here depending on what you prioritize. First of all, I would recommend just getting the deluxe edition because it's only $10 more and you get all of these 7 character packs. But whether you want it digitally or physically, that's all up to you. Pre-ordering digitally, you get the Trooper character pack day one, earlier than anyone else, and you get the classic Obi-Wan playable character. Whereas physically, you get the Luke Skywalker Blue Milk minifig and the Darth Vader alternate box. So depending on what you want the most, you'll have to pick physically or digitally. Unfortunately, you can't get all of those things unless you buy 2 versions of the game, which probably isn't worth it. And lastly, we of course have these 7 character packs that are included in the deluxe edition that I wanted to go over and talk about what's gonna be in them. First of all, we have the Trooper character pack, the one you can get day one access to if you pre-order digitally. It will include the Death Trooper among many other troopers, and the Death Trooper will then not be in the Rogue One pack. And then we have Mandalorian Season 1 pack, where you will get Mando plus Grogu in a pod companion. So Grogu is actually a companion there. And these companions are not playable, but they will follow your character around. However, Grogu may very well be included in the Mandalorian Season 2 pack as well as a playable character. That isn't confirmed, but all we know is that Grogu will be in his kind of hovering pod as a companion, and they haven't confirmed if he's going to be playable as well. And other than the Mandalorian Season 2 pack, we have the Bad Batch pack, where you can see Hunter on this screenshot. And then we have the Rogue One A Star Wars Story pack with Jyn Erso, Solo A Star Wars Story, and the classic characters pack where we know that we will get Lando. Other than that, we can just guess what each of these packs will include, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that for something like Rogue One, we'll probably get Jyn, Cassian, Krennic, K2SO, and similarly the Bad Batch will obviously get the Bad Batch character, Solo A Star Wars Story. Well, you get what I mean. You'll probably get the characters that are in the movie / series, but these were the ones we know about from screenshots that will be included. But those were all the details I had for you today. Hopefully you now know which edition of the game you will get and if you will pre-order it or not. I'd love to hear in the comments below what your thoughts and plans are on this game. Are you gonna get it day one? Which edition are you getting? And what are you most excited for? And again, if you're interested in keeping up to date with all things LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.